Hey guys, it's Franz. We're here at the warehouse working. I thought I'd do a little video primarily of patterns that you may not have in your collection, but you might want to consider. And a lot of times photos don't do justice to the pieces that I show in the weekly emails. So I thought we'd kind of take a look at those. And then here's a couple of little things that I have hanging in the warehouse. This is a letter head from J. Hoare, which was really interesting, and I enjoy seeing it. And then the Hawks Pueblo picture, which one of these days I'm going to have to write a story about. And then, of course, this is pretty awesome. It's the Victor pattern by Meriden. Great, fabulous tusks on the center. And then the fans are actually big, thick, deep tusks. I don't know if you can grasp how deep my finger goes into those. The punch bowl is for sale if you want to inquire about it. Okay, we'll start off our patterns with, there's one of these that are named, and I can't think of the name at the top of my head, that what company made them, but we also suspect that Bergen and possibly Sterling Cut Glass made them. So there may be 2 or 3 different makers. But these are very tiny, fine miters all throughout here. And then I'm always fascinated with floating hop stars, whether it's not necessarily in this pattern, but in other patterns in cut glass. And the floating hop stars, just to me, are very attractive. And then a lot of times these fine miters are combined with engraved roses. And then the center is a hop star. And then the bottom, this is studded out almost. It's not the extent of a punch bowl plug, but it's very deep, and so it presents the bowl well in display. So that is, I think, a 9-inch bowl, and it is $2.95. Here's a pattern that I really need to dig in the catalogs and try to figure out who did this. It reminds me of several companies. J. Hoare comes to mind. Pitkin and Brooks with their Plymouth and other great patterns, but it's got neat little fan arrays in between all these vesicas enclosing the clusters. The clusters are actually cut similar to Arabian Number 1 by Eggington. Now, I'm not saying that this is an Eggington product because too many elements are different and it doesn't have U-cuts or a signature. But the pattern itself is quite captivating. It's very inventive, a different use of motifs. It's a 9-inch low bowl, displays like a tray, and this should be probably 2 or 3 times more, but it's $2.95 since I don't know who did it. This is the last piece that I got from my friend Ken Wolf, and I was supposed to sell for him. I think it's filigree. Let me see. Forgot to check. Yes, it's the filigree pattern by Eggington. It is signed. The bowl is heavy as all get out. Depth of cutting is very amazing. Hop stars are studded. Very neat split. Field of cane there. Field of crosshatching, I should say. The cane is the intersecting looping vesicas that, like an atom, form all the way around the bowl. It's really an incredible pattern. It's the only piece I've ever seen in this design by Eggington. Again, it's signed, fabulous quality. The bowl was $7.95. Yes, $7.95. And the whole $7.95 will go to his widow, because, like I said, that was Ken Wolf's piece. Okay, here we go. Is another piece that people rarely see is the Princess pattern by Hawks. Here's a 9-inch low bowl, or 8-inch low bowl, I should say. And it is signed, of course. Queens we can find a lot of, but Princess is pretty scarce. And this one is another reasonable piece. Yeah, $2.95. Here's a very underrated pattern. It's Columbia by Meriden. Famous for the rose diamond, as in the rose diamond pattern, and Clark's Waldorf and Orloff. This is cut every bit as good as any of those patterns. Great depth to cutting, best metal blank. It's got the hop diamond hexads inside the vesicas with the hop stars. Great quality piece. It's shown in some of the trade catalogs. It's $24.95. I'm going to do a special here and do $14.95, but it's phenomenal quality. One of my all-time favorites. It's one of the few patterns that I have multiple examples of in my personal collection. It's an 8-inch low bowl. It's in trellis and it's signed Eggington, but that's a must-have if anybody's going to have a decent collection, is to have a piece of the true trellis where it's got the intersecting channel cuts in a basket weave effect. Great studded hop stars. You can see the three-dimensionality of it with the hop stars cut on the ends of it. Great quality piece, and it's a nice buy at $26.95. A lot of trellis pieces are $36 and $4,500. Another really great buy for an example of one of the ultimate rarities in cut glass is the Nautilus pattern. And this is also a flared, sort of a low bowl, but in an easel it would display perfectly. And if you need easels, let me know. I do have some from collections. This is an 8-inch low bowl, or 8.5 inches. Heavy, blank, very deep cutting. The cutting is to perfection, and so is the wood polish. It should be an early piece and unsigned. Occasionally they'll be signed, but yeah, so this is predates acid, so it's going to be 1892, 3, 4, somewhere in that neighborhood. Great quality, and $27.95 is probably the best price you'll ever see on a piece of Nautilus. Same thing with the panel. It's a pattern that everybody desires, everybody wants. It's usually unattainable for a lot of collections. Deep channel cuts, a lot of detail in the hop stars. 8-inch low bowl displays like a tray, of course, and that's $29.50. Panel bowls are usually in the $5,500 range, but this is a good example to have in your collection. And then here we have Neola. That's another pattern that likely you won't have in your collection, but you should. Best metal blank. I think you can see even without the big lights that this is like silver. It glistens so much because of Anderson's cutting. I don't know what it was. I guess some of it was the angle of the cutting and then the quantity of flashing in there, but it's very silvery. It's 10-inch diameter. Just a fabulous quality piece. I don't know where the tag is. That's obviously the wrong tag. The Neola, I think, is $14.95. And then another pattern, and probably most people don't even know of, is Star by Libby. I swapped this out for a bowl. This was in my personal collection, and it's a flared or curled plate rather than a low bowl. It's kind of more of a tray than anything. Very fine detail cutting, really early. Another one that predates signatures. It's 9 inches to 9.5 inches diameter. Again, it's Star by Libby, and that's $16.95. Another Anderson piece is this Samantha 8-inch bowl. I think it's 8 inches, not 9 inches. You see the clear button hop stars, lots of flashing, lots of brilliance, just great depth to cutting, and the wood polish is amazing. And that's a nice buy at only $7.95. And then our final piece for the video is a heavily underrated pattern. It's cluster. In the catalog, it's called cluster and clusters, as in plural. I kind of use the names interchangeably because there's no definitive name for it. It's characterized by the block cutting in the vesicas. That's how you know, even without a signature or the U-cuts, that it's Eggington's cluster. A lot of people make a thing over these cluster lookalikes that just aren't decent quality even. This is exceptional quality. It's the quality of Arabian and trellis and triple mitered trellis Calvé by Egginton. 9-inch Lobo. You can see deeply studded. You can see the mirror effect in the cutting and the polish, and that's great quality. And that's a heck of a buy at only $3.95. I've reduced it. And that will conclude our video for the day. Here's a neat piece. It hasn't made it to a pedestal in my house yet, but it's Sinclair. I just need to box it and bring it home. But it's similar. It has a lot of similarities to a bunch of Sinclair patterns, but I've not definitively identified it yet. It's got the wild rose top, and it looks like a bunch of other. It's 18 inches too. It's really neat. All right, I'm rambling here, but thanks for receiving the emails and enjoying the videos, and I will talk to you soon.